So, some big OpenAI drama over the weekend. And in this video, we're going to understand exactly what happened between Microsoft and OpenAI, but also acknowledge how Elon Musk might respond to this. And he probably won't do anything because he literally told us this was going to happen.
Microsoft actually may be more in control than, say, the leadership team at OpenAI realizes. Microsoft, as part of the Microsoft investment, they have rights to all of the software, all of the model weights, and everything necessary to run the inference system.
And remember, Elon Musk was one of the founders of OpenAI. He knew what was going on, what was going to happen, and he had Grok ready for the market when it all blew up. Truly incredible. So now let's take a look at exactly what happened before we start to think about what actions Elon Musk might take in response.
I think what it really means is that OpenAI, which I think most of us woke up on Friday thinking was the most powerful AI company in the world and arguably the most important, right now I think its entire future is in question. Doesn't mean it's disappearing or not going to be important, but I think legitimately none of us know right now.
So it now appears to me, at least, that Microsoft and Google, if they weren't the biggest players before, this changes that. But how much of the intelligence, the knowledge, the know-how that somebody like Sam Altman and Greg Brockman have and that team have, can they bring effectively to a Microsoft versus some of the IP and other things that might originally emanate from the OpenAI piece of this? And how are these two groups going to even work together, given that one of them effectively was fired from the other?
So I think there's a lot there. For starters, if it was just Greg and Sam, I don't think a huge amount. Obviously, they know a lot. Greg, arguably a little bit more even on the AI side. I think the real question is how many of the team members. You're seeing dozens and dozens of OpenAI employees this morning, just within the last hour, tweeting out OpenAI is nothing without its employees. The presumption is that means these are people interested in maybe going to Microsoft. That includes OpenAI's CTO, the woman who was interim CEO for about one business hour over the weekend. I think this bigger picture question about Microsoft is there was a assumption by a lot of people, including me, that what Microsoft was originally doing with OpenAI was trying to get the big benefit of the AI push and kind of jumping over, if not jumping over safety guardrails, at least moving really fast with having some plausible deniability from big tech. Like, it's not us who's, going super fast. It's them. They're a partner. But now they're bringing in Sam and Greg, who, if all the reporting is correct, were kind of pushing commercialization faster and faster. So I think Microsoft has decided that the reward is worth the risk.
So yeah, Microsoft is the big winner here. They're going to bring the idea of ChatGPT in-house and be able to make more money on it because OpenAI is a nonprofit that has its limitations. So now you can bring Sam and Greg to Microsoft, and all the employees want to follow because they see what's going on. They see the direction that OpenAI is headed. It's doomed. They're all going to come over to Microsoft. They're just going to do it all again. They already know how to do it. Bada boom, bada bing, Microsoft wins. So while Microsoft was shocked and, oh my goodness, OpenAI, what are you doing? Wow, I'm an investor and this is all blowing up in my face. And then they come up with the brilliant idea of hiring Sam and Greg quite fast. Don't you think? They just, ooh, what a good idea. It's almost as if this was the plan all along.
Now, it's still unclear what this means for OpenAI and the relationship with Microsoft. Microsoft relies on OpenAI technology for its own AI products. Trouble at OpenAI could limit Microsoft's ability to push out new features and stay ahead of Google and others in this AI race. And it's going to take time for Altman to build a team at Microsoft focused still on OpenAI getting its house in order. I will say for now, guys, Microsoft is standing with its relationship with OpenAI, saying they support this new interim CEO. But look, it's bringing Altman in is kind of a signal that they may be ready to just push him aside and say no more drama. It's a wild story, guys.
So here's Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. Here's his master plan right here. Step 1, hire Sam Altman and Greg. The tweet says currently we're here, but we're actually already up to step 2, which is hire top OpenAI colleagues who side with Sam and Greg. About 500 of the 700 OpenAI employees have already stated that they want to transfer to Microsoft. I'll show that evidence in a moment. Step 3, create an in-house Bing GPT, maybe even using OpenAI's data set, as those are on Microsoft servers already. Step 4, launch that under Sam and Greg's leadership. Step 5, cut off compute power to OpenAI to merge it with Bing GPT. Microsoft anyway wins, so does Sam and Greg. So you might be thinking there's zero moat in large language models. Companies can just start them up bona fide now. But no, it's not true. Microsoft has billions of dollars worth of GPUs. They have the hardware. Now they have the software expertise with Sam and Greg and all of the employees coming over. Even with Grok, Elon had to hire incredibly talented people to get Grok up and running. So, these aren't easy moats to just come in and make. They actually just bought the moat. That's what Microsoft did. And here's the evidence. 505 of 700 employees at OpenAI signed this document telling that the board needs to resign. They're unhappy with the board's decisions this weekend, and it basically says they are going to resign imminently, most of them hoping to go to Microsoft, unless all the current board members resign and the board appoints 2 new lead independent directors such as Brett Taylor and Will Hurd, and reinstates Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. So 500 employees at OpenAI saying, unless you reinstate Sam Altman and Greg, we're gone.
I'm trying to just understand this, though. How is everyone going to get along? What kind of IP does OpenAI have that may be in the heads of or not of Sam Altman and Greg Brockman and the rest of that team? Is that replicatable in your mind? And in this sort of race between Microsoft and Google and Inflection and Anthropic, how does this change things?
Well, replicatable is a pretty easy answer to go at. I mean, look how quickly Google and Facebook were able to push out similar technologies. I'm sure there is some work being done in Microsoft to do that as far as like IP and things like that. I'm sure that they can work around that without touching it. But I'd also point to Emmett Shear and this new interim CEO they chose to lead the company. He's talked very skeptically about AI and talking about these doom and gloom scenarios that we keep hearing so many CEOs talk about. So he seems to be less on the commercial side, at least, than Sam Altman was. And so that's going to be an interesting dynamic also going forward with this relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI.
I mean, if you're a fan of Elon Musk, what a weekend. First, we get Starship with all Raptor engines ignited and a perfect separation from the booster. And now Grok's biggest competitor is in complete shambles. I mean, if you're a student coming out of university this year and you want to work on large language models, suddenly XAI looks a lot more appealing than OpenAI and all of that uncertainty. And now it's going to take some time for Microsoft to build out their Bing GPT or whatever that's going to be called. And suddenly, Grok might pull ahead.
Did Microsoft spend $13 billion to basically get an option to hire half of the company?
That's what it feels like now, doesn't it?
It's really weird. But then Kara Swisher is doing some reporting on this and says that, remember, if OpenAI does not meet the terms of the contract, it can walk, which I think she means Microsoft can walk. So did they not actually spend $13 billion?
They haven't spent all the money. So, and it's not just cash either. There's things like it's a deal valued at that much, but they're doing things like cloud credits, for example, for OpenAI that might get to that $10 billion valuation. Again, we don't know the details of this, but there are certain milestones and things like that they have to reach in order to lure more investment from Microsoft. So it's very feasible. I mean, we don't know for sure, but it's feasible. You can imagine a scenario where Microsoft says, okay, we've gone as far as we can with this relationship. We're moving it all in-house. But for now, all these products we keep hearing Microsoft talk about, they're built on OpenAI. They rely on OpenAI. With all this turmoil, you start to question, can they move as quickly as maybe they were planning to? Does their 2024 product roadmap look the same as it did just 4 or 5 days ago? Probably not with all this turmoil going on. On the other hand, how many people are going to leave OpenAI, join Microsoft, or start their own thing? These are the most hireable people in technology in Silicon Valley right now.
Trying to hire
Google's got to be, I'm sure, and we heard stories over the weekend, everyone's phones ringing off the hook saying, come join us, come join us. There's a lot more competition right now. And look, OpenAI, I can't stress how important this is. OpenAI was the leader of this entire AI revolution we've been talking about for the last 365 days. And now they're in turmoil. The question really comes down to the board. If they did have these concerns, and they keep saying, the statements we are getting from the board and other executives, that Altman didn't do anything wrong. There's no malfeasance. He wasn't like stealing from the company or anything like that. And instead of, talking to him about it, it sounds like they just made this idea for a coup and let's just get rid of him without having a conversation about it.
Well, it was 4 of 6 board members.
It's 4 of 6 board members.
It's got to scare every founder in Silicon Valley and beyond at this point. What do you do with the board? And the idea of saying, okay, I'm going to be altruistic and not take shares in a company, this has to make you rethink that too. Because you probably want not only shares, you want a system set up where you have the votes.
You do, and I wonder if this is going to make Elon rethink his position at Tesla. Elon has been on the record saying that Tesla is ultimately in control of the shareholders. Elon only has a 20% stake. To have a majority stake in the company, you need to have 51%. It's basically the difference between it being a dictatorship and it being a democracy. Right now, Tesla is a democracy. The shareholders all vote on if they don't like something or what they want to happen. Right now, Elon only owns 20% of the company. And in regards to Optimus, he has said that this is good. It's good that Tesla is a democracy because it will keep us accountable. It will make sure that AGI is not used for nefarious reasons. And so Elon framed his 20% position in a way similar to how Sam Altman framed his position where he has no shares. He's saying this is actually a good thing because it's going to keep me accountable and keep me from acting irrational, saying what Elon said. But democracy is good until you have a big money player who is nefarious and they do a hostile takeover and take majority shares of the company. I mean, right now, a 51% stake in Tesla would be worth about $370 billion. And if Tesla's market cap fell back down to around $350 billion, which is where it was at the end of last year, someone could take a controlling stake in Tesla for only about $175 billion. Now, of course, it would probably cost them a little bit more because if you're putting that much cash into Tesla stock, the price is going to go up. But Apple currently has $162 billion in cash. Berkshire Hathaway has $157 billion. Microsoft has $143 billion. So this kind of cash exists, and this event over the weekend is a good reminder that literally anything can happen in the tech world. So I'm just wondering if all this is making Elon think about all the shares he sold over the last couple of years, if he needs to start getting his hands on more Tesla shares, or if it's good reason for Tesla to start initiating share buybacks to defend against a potential hostile takeover. I know this is a very highly unlikely event, but if it did happen, if the majority share of Tesla got into the wrong hands, it could result in reckless deployment of AGI and the ousting of Elon Musk from the company. And I know it's highly unlikely, but in the tech world, the big fish keep getting bigger. Right now, Apple and Microsoft are both 4 times bigger than Tesla. You have Google sitting at 2 times larger. And the more Elon threatens their moats, the more these companies are going to conspire against him. Right now, these companies each have about 8 times as much cash as Tesla. So while Elon has stressed the importance of democracy at Tesla, him not having a majority share is good. I think he needs to start considering acquiring a majority share because I know we all trust his judgment. He's super cautious with AI. I think it's better that he has control to prevent somebody else who is wrong for the job taking control. It is better Elon, someone who's extremely cautious about the dangers of AI having majority than somebody who isn't. Did anybody else start to think about this? Am I completely out to lunch? Is this way too far-fetched? Let me know, and thanks for watching.